I say, welcome back to my program. So, you have to realize that if you want to do anything in life to achieve great success every single day, you have to realize that you have to get talking. You have to start every single day producing content. And when you produce content, things happen in life. Like, for example, you start speaking words. And because you're speaking words, you deliver a message. Okay, you deliver some type of message. And when you're delivering messages of interest, of something that people can benefit from, then you have more to talk about, because you have to realize that everything is happening in a way that when you speak words, that something happens such as a vibration that other people can pick up on. They can actually understand you. They can actually understand exactly what you're doing about life to succeed and making sure that you're growing in a different way. So you have to realize you have to push yourself to make content. You understand? You have to push yourself every single day to do something that is worth it for yourself, that you understand that your work every single day is to provide something for other people. And when you provide something for other people, okay, when you provide a sense of certainty, or when you provide something that other people can look forward to, then anything can happen. You understand? You just have to always look for something to say. You understand? When you look for something to say, anything can happen in any kind of way. And you have to realize that what I mean is, when you talk words, you can talk whatever you like and people will understand you. Okay? But the thing is that some people who don't understand exactly what you say, it's not because of you, it's because of them. But it also can be because of you. In a sense, so you have to realize that you have to simplify your English and your language to the most simplest format, so that everyone can understand, so that even a baby can understand what you're talking about. You understand? So you have to realize that no matter what, that I have in my life, for example, some people who realize to say something like, "Hey, I don't understand you, Danny, about what you're saying." So what I do is I try to simplify even more as much as I can, so that people can understand me. And that's what I'm talking about. So you have to realize that if you simplify things in a different nature, in a different way that you've never spoken before, you have to realize that's what the meaning of life is, all right? You have to understand that when you go a certain direction in life, and when you're speaking enough words every single day, you'll feel that you have done something, that you have accomplished some kind of thing in your life, because you're speaking words, because you're trying to achieve a greater way of lifestyle for yourself. And now when you achieve a greater lifestyle for yourself, it's not because of anything other than the words you've spoken in life. You have to realize that all my achievements in my life has been because of the words I've spoken. I promise you nothing else. I promise you. So all my experiences were because of my words, and everything that I made come true in my life has been because of words that I spoke. So in order for me to do music production, I have to speak the words of that. In order for me to do life coaching programs, I have to speak the words of that. I have to speak the words of what I want in my life. So if I don't want something in my life, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it from the equation. I'm going to remove certain aspects from my life, so that I can have a better quality life in the process, so that I can help myself to do something much greater for myself. Because that's the whole point of life, is always to do something greater for yourself that you've never done before in your life. In a sense, so you have to realize that recently I changed from coffee. I was drinking a lot of coffee, for example, and because I was drinking a lot of coffee, I felt pressured. I felt that I was always rushing, somewhere. I felt my body was multiplying in its pressure, that my body was always, let's say, beating very fast. In terms of my heartbeat was beating very fast, and I was feeling stressed out. I was feeling so stressed out physically, like always physically tired, always stressed out, like I need something in my life. And it's because of the caffeine. And I was always in a state of an adrenaline. You understand? I was always in adrenaline. I was always in the fear of flight response. You understand? Fight or flight response. And because I was drinking lots of caffeine, I realized somewhere along the lines to change from coffee to black tea instead. And because I've done that, it's been already 80 hours since coffee intake. And I feel so much better. I feel like my body's not pressurized as much as anymore. And I feel that my body is now more calm, but also more relaxed. And I feel more hydrated in the process, because when you drink black tea, you drink it with water, you understand? So you put the kettle on and you turn on the kettle and it turns into hot water. And then you pour the hot water into a cup and you put some cold water inside if you want your tea to be colder or warmer. And you have to realize that that's what I've been doing. And I've been drinking from 13 to 16 cups of water with tea in my day. And because I'm doing that, I feel more energized, much more than before. And I feel less fatigued. And I also feel more energized in the process. I feel healthier as a human being. But not only that, but when I go to sleep, I can actually fall asleep within, let's say, 10 minutes. And also when I am waking up, I don't feel groggy as much as before. I don't feel that when I wake up that I can't wake up. You know, so for example, when I try to wake up, for example, I close my eyes. I understand I've woken up, but my eyes are closed. And now I've woken up, but my eyes are closed. And now, before I wake up, I try to just lay down for a minute, just to see how I'm feeling in that moment. And you have to realize that in the past 2 days, I haven't been really feeling so groggy. You know, I haven't been feeling so down or fatigued. I wake up full of energy, you understand, because I'm drinking lots more water. And because I'm drinking lots more water, I also find that I am more energized to stay awake as well. You understand, because I have more energy. So that's what I find that in my diet right now. I'm going to be drinking lots more water, and I'm going to be drinking black tea for the next 30 days. But then from 30 days onwards, I'm going to change from black tea, and I'm going to start drinking chamomile tea or peppermint tea. So I haven't decided yet which one I'm going to drink, but I'm going to maybe drink chamomile tea. You know, so the reason for that is because of the calming effect of chamomile tea. And then you have to realize that I'm not going to just drink water, for example, you understand, when I wake up. I'm going to drink something like tea. You understand, because tea is something that I can drink throughout the day, and it has full of water and nutrients inside of the water. You understand, so you have to realize that minerals, because minerals are actually nutrients as well, you understand? So you have to realize that no matter what, that now, because I feel much better in my life, now since I've gone away from the coffee and I started drinking black tea, I'm just feeling so much more better. I'm feeling better about myself. I'm feeling that I can overcome caffeine now, because eventually I want to gradually decrease my caffeine intake over time, because I understand that if I do it in one go, I'm not going to feel good. You understand? So if I didn't drink black tea, then I would not drink as much water in my diet, because I feel that when I drink some water, I only drink a little bit of water, and I feel that that's enough for me, but that's not enough. I have to drink even more water, and the only way to drink more water in my life for myself is to drink tea with water. You understand? That's how I get my fluids in. You understand? So now you have to realize that no matter what, you always have to make a change in your life. You understand? You have to make certain changes in your life so that you can understand what to do with your life, and so you can understand exactly how you're moving forward in terms of what you want to do. You understand? So you have to realize that everything's going in a better direction if you only look at the better direction. So you have to realize that if you're always perspective, in terms of your perspective is always on the better direction, you're always going to find something better to do. You're going to do something much more that's more clarity for you. You're going to understand a deeper meaning about life. You're going to understand exactly what you need to do about success and achievement and understanding how to live life on a daily basis, but understanding that you need to push yourself. Okay, you need to push yourself to produce. You have to produce something, and you have to post it online so that people can see it. Yes, and so that you can not only, for example, because it's not about being somebody as much as it is helping people. You have to be someone who's helping people. You have to contribute back to society. Yes, and so I'm so glad that I started a YouTube channel and that I done my Instagram profile the way I did, and that I am doing Snapchat. So for example, on Snapchat, I added all the people into certain type of groups, and when I make a quote, I send my one quote that I made to 1,500 people in less than 1 minute. Since you have to realize that because I'm creating a lot of content, I'm getting good feedback about my work and what I do, and that's a good sign that everything is going much better in my life in some kind of way. But because I'm creative and because I'm doing something on the creative side, I'm trying to give advice, I'm trying to make music, I'm trying to make something for myself, you understand? And because I'm trying to make something for myself, I'm understanding that I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on my life. I'm not trying to kill myself. I'm not trying to commit suicide. I'm not trying to do bad things in the world. I'm not trying to key someone's car. I'm not trying to damage other people's property. You understand? I'm not trying to burn a house down or trying to kill someone or anything like that. I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to do good things for the world. I believe in the good faith of life. You have to understand, because those people who do bad things in life, I promise you, karma gets them. Karma comes back around. So what you do to other people or what you do for this life comes back to you. So if you give 100%, you'll get 100% back. You have to understand, you have to push yourself even when you don't feel like it. You have to push yourself to make content even when you don't feel like it. You understand? So you have to realize, sometimes I don't feel like doing anything. You understand? I don't feel like doing anything. But then sometimes when I don't do anything at all I do is just listen to the silence instead. So you always have to find something to do in your life, because if you don't have anything to do, you're not going to have full of purpose in your life. You have to realize you have to make a purpose in your life. You have to always thrive about your purposes. You have to have more than one purpose in your life. You have to have more than one meaning in your life. So you have to do more for yourself than other people are doing for you. You understand? So you have to understand that if you realize that, for example, if you have time in your life like I do, you understand that you need to use your time to your advantage. You have to use as much time as you can in your life to make sure that you're living a quality life. And now, if you're a smoker of a cigarette or if you do drugs, you're not going to live a quality life like that. You understand? You have to realize that people who live quality lives are people who are staying sober. You have to stay sober. You have to realize that I don't go to clubbing, for example. I don't go clubbing anymore as much as I used to. And I rarely go festivals and clubbing and to the beaches and pools and stuff. I realized that because for me, I'd rather do music production and life coaching than go clubbing and go to those places, for example. I don't find it interesting to go clubbing as much as I used to go. And it's not because of my age, but it's because I've found something much better to do with my time than going out there picking up women and trying to be someone that I'm not. You understand? I realize plenty of people who go nightclubbing and festivals are trying to pick up women and men, and they're trying to get laid, and like some of them are going for the music. Like, I have a phone, I can listen to music on Spotify all night long, all day long in my house. I don't have to go to a nightclub to experience music. You understand? I don't have to invest $30 into a nightclub or $150 on a festival ticket to make myself feel like much better than before. You understand? You have to realize that going to festivals and nightclubs is a good experience. It's a nice experience when you go the first time. But when you keep going to those things, like it gets old. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't summarize to the person that you want to be. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize, yes, we all want to be festival season. You understand? We all want a festival in our life. But if you keep going to clubbing, if you keep going to these events, for example, and you're not staying home to do your work, the true work that you came here to do, then you're not going to find as much meaning and purpose in your life. That's what I'm saying. You have to realize, because I have a meaning and purpose in my life, I'd rather do that than go night clubbing and festivals. You know, saying it doesn't just approach. It doesn't interest me to go to those events unless I'm the DJ at the event. You know, saying now if I produce my music, for example, at home, and eventually in 10 years' time I have all this music that I made, for example, in my life, and I invested all this money in my music and into my happiness, because when I invest money into my music, I invest money into my happiness. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, for example, you have to realize that if I want to get a vocal track done for my music track, instrumental track, then I need a vocal track for my instrumental track. So I have to give money for a vocal. You know what I'm saying? So when I give money for a vocal and then I place it into my track the way I want it, and then I listen back to my track, then it sounds really good to me personally. I like to listen to it, even though some other people would disagree with how I done the vocals, or how my vocals are offbeat, or how my vocals are low tone or not in key, or they're not in key of the track or whatever. For me, I like to listen to it. I like to listen to what I've done in terms of that, because you have to realize, because when I do something and I make it the way I want it, then that's what's most important. That I want to listen to it, and not because other people want to listen to it. You know, see, I don't make music for other people. I make it for myself. I do something, I make something in terms of life, and it's because of me that I do it. You know, see, I do it because of me, because it helps me in some kind of way. And because I do it, I didn't give it to other people. And now if you like it or not, that's up to you. But that's got nothing to do with me if you like my content or not. You know, see, I like my content. I like this audio program that I made for you here in this program. You know, saying, because it's a different set of words. It's a different creative style. It's a different way that I've spoken my life. It's something a part of my life, and I have to appreciate that. I have to appreciate what I've done in life. You understand? So you have to realize that sometimes I don't feel like doing content in my life, but then I try to do more content. I try to do even more content. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way that I find that I'm much more interesting with myself, that I'm doing something on a daily basis to help myself to speak in a different way, or to do something I've never done, or to go a certain direction I've never gone in before, so that I can help to speak my mind into the planet, so that I can speak more words, so that I can reason with myself to do better in all walks of life. You understand? Although you need a lot of time in your life, and now if you don't have a lot of time in your life, then what's going to happen is lots of pressure is going to come into your life. And now that pressure is good pressure, and it can also be bad pressure. And now if you feel pressured about life, okay, you have to realize that you can either grow from it or you can either lose from it. Yes, and so you have to realize, now what I mean by lose from it is, sometimes when life is pressuring you to do things, you sometimes don't have time for yourself anymore. Yes, and so you have to realize that those people who are working a 9-to-5 job, okay, you have to realize that they go 9-to-5 work because they're trying to earn money, because they're trying to make a car for themselves, to buy a car for themselves, because they want to make kids for themselves, because they want to go traveling, for example. They want to provide for their family. You understand? They want to have more money for themselves to do the things that they want to do. You understand? So you have to realize that's why they go work a 9-to-5 job, and just to survive as well. You understand? But the thing is that those people who don't work a 9-to-5 job, I realize that you have to realize that these people have more time for themselves. You understand? They have more time to do the passions that they want to do, and they're not going toward other people who they're not working for other people. You understand? They're not working for people who are going to tell them what to do about life. You understand? Most people don't like people telling them what to do about life. You understand? And you have to realize that those people who work 9 to 5 jobs, apparently these people don't feel appreciated. Apparently they don't feel appreciated for the work they've done for that company and stuff, because that company is always demanding more from them. You understand? So you have to realize that if you want to find a balance between life and death, you have to realize that, first of all, it's a natural part of life to grow and to die at the same time, and to be able to live your life accordingly to the way you want to live it. So you have to realize that because you go a certain direction in your life, then you find either speaking opportunities or you find anything to do with your life where you can actually grow from what you're doing. And even though sometimes life may not go the certain direction that you want it to go in, you promise you life takes you and drags you into a certain direction, and you have to flow with it. Sometimes you have to realize that you have to go a different direction to the crowd, and you have to understand that you have to understand to create more time for yourself, create more financial freedom for yourself, do what's more affordable for yourself, and understand that if it's worth it for you to do that kind of stuff that's actually helping you, then do it as much as possible. You understand? Do something that is going to make sure that you're going to succeed. You understand? So you have to realize that if I ever had kids in my life, if I don't succeed in my music production, then I'm going to make sure that my kids, if they choose to do music production with me, then I'm going to make sure that I teach them everything I can that I know already about my music production skills. And I'm going to teach them my skills as fast as possible so that they start music production when they're in their 5th year of life, or when they're 5 years old, or 4 years old, 3 years old. I'm going to make sure that they start very early making music if that's what they want in their life. I don't want to force my passions onto them. I would love for them to be life coaches and music producers, but if they don't want that for themselves, I promise you, go do your own thing. I'll still support you and stuff, but make sure you have to realize, you have to understand, sometimes people don't want to do exactly what you do. But make sure you give them some reasons upon what you do, so that they really understand what you do, so that you inspire them in some kind of way to do your work for you in some kind of way that they're doing it for themselves also. You understand? Because it's not just about you, it's also about them. So you have to realize you have to put yourself in people's shoes. And the only way to do that is through words. And you have to understand that if you communicate to people and you understand to communicate more to them and connect more with them, you understand that there's always a way to connect with people and to understand exactly where they're coming from if you're connecting more with them. You understand? So the more you connect with people, the better you're going to become in terms of connection and in terms of your life, in terms of communicating to other people and communicating with yourself as well. Since you have to realize that everything's got to do with yourself, and the more you communicate to others is the more you communicate to yourself. So you have to realize that when you're putting other people in perspective, you have to realize that all you're trying to do really is just help them in some kind of way. But if they don't want the help from you, then make sure you understand to move away from people who don't want help from you. You understand? Because you can't help these people. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. You understand? So you have to realize that if you are anybody in your life who is smart, and you have to realize you are smart, but you have to understand that if you're smart to that point that I'm talking about, then you're going to be making sure that you understand that it's more about you growing, okay, as an individual, than helping other people to grow. You understand? I promise you, it's more about you making sure that you're growing yourself on a daily basis as much as possible, so that you can be happy. You understand? So you can fulfill yourself, and that's what the purpose is about life, is making sure that every single day you're doing something to make sure that you're fulfilled, not for other people, not for anybody else, but for yourself. That you have a responsibility in your life to make sure that you have happiness in your life, and that you're thriving in life for yourself. You know, so that you're doing something much better for yourself than for other people. You know, so you have to realize that other people don't care. Yes, and they don't care about you. Yeah, I promise you. So now there are organizations out there that want to help you. Yes, and there are people out there that want to help you, but people overall don't care about you. You understand, as much as you think. You understand? I promise you have to realize that people do care and they don't. You understand? So that's the thing about life. You have to realize, in my life, if I don't do this audio program, I promise you no one's going to do it for me. I promise you nobody's going to motivate me to do an audio program for you. I promise you nobody's going to motivate me to do music production and to live my life and to have happiness in my life. You understand? So you have to realize nobody's going to motivate me for anything unless I give them money for it. You understand? So you have to realize that money talks. You understand? When you have money, I promise you can give it to other people and they'll treasure you. You understand? But as soon as you don't have money to give them, then it's like, give them words. And if they don't want your words, then part ways. You understand? Say goodbye and just say, hey, no worries, and just go your own way, because these people don't even want your words. They don't want your money. I'm pretty sure they want your money, but if you don't have money and you're trying to give them words of advice or freedom or whatever, and they don't understand you, it's all right. You have to understand, you have to realize that your purpose is to give people freedom. You understand? Your purpose is to find freedom for yourself and other people, to make sure that we can have salvation, that we can have a life of freedom for everybody. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing this audio program for you, so that I can create freedom in your life. And that's the whole point. So you have to realize that's why communication is so important. It's important because of many levels of aspects of life where you can actually communicate to people on a different spectrum than other people, because you have your own set of guidelines, you have your own set of purposes and things that you want to do. You understand? And you have to understand that if you want to do something to help yourself to succeed and to live life on a greater basis, you have to understand it's much more about communication than ever before. In a sense, so the more you communicate into life, the better you're going to become in terms of every area of your life. You understand? So you have to always do a greater job. You understand? That's what you came here to do. This is what you are for. You understand? This is your tool. This is something that you use as your vocabulary. This is something that you use as your speech requirements, where you can actually go speaking now and talk to people based on what I've told you in this audio program. And you can understand that there's so much to talk about anyway, not just about this audio program, but every single audio program in the planet. So you have to understand that everything is here to help you, as long as you're willing to help yourself with it. So if you help yourself do a greater job for yourself, then nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you from becoming the version of yourself that you want to become. So if you want to help yourself to do a greater way of life for yourself, then you're going to find the necessary skills to make sure that you're helping yourself on a daily basis to live a great life for yourself, so that you're enjoying life for yourself. You have to understand that's what it's all about. And it's making sure every single day that you're doing something on a daily basis to make sure that you're successful, and that you're doing something on a daily basis to help other people, regardless of if they care about you or not. So you have to realize that's how you actually live life.